Me njerë pas Kosovës vjen Amerika, vjen Shtetet e Bashkuara të Amerikës dhe një vend shumë të rëndësishëm dhe shumë të veçantë në zemrat e secilit prej nesh kanë padyshim ushtarët e këforit me thekë të veçantë ata Amerikanë të cilët kanë shërbyer dhe vazhdojnë të shërbejnë në vendin tonë.
Për disa nga ta, si që është rasti i ushtarit John Wilson, Kosova ka një vend të veçantë në vendin e tij, në zemrën e tij.
Ata largohen, por prap kthehen në Kosovë. E bukur kjo.
Ky është John Wilson, ish-komandant i këforit në rajonin e Kamenicës. Rreth 20 vjet më parë në Kosovë solli puna. Fal kësaj pune, ai fitoi një shtëpi të dytë, miqësi të përjetshme dhe një dashuri të re, që është Kosova. As moti i ftohtë e as këmba e thyer nuk e ndaluan të fleste për shtëpinë e tij të dytë, për Kamenicën. Ish-komandanti i këforit në Kamenicë, John Wilson, me plot emocion dhe dashuri për këtë vend, na ktha në të kaluarën tonë, të parë nga syri një ushtari të huaj që po vente për herë të parë në Kosovën se sapo kishte dalë nga lufta.
I remember the first time I came to Kamenica, it didn't look this way. Right? Back then, Kamenica was, believe it or not, much smaller than it is today. Right? Behind us, you will see, this was where our camp was in Kamenica, and it was this big. Here we had many soldiers that lived. We had soldiers that ate here in the dining facility. We had soldiers that used the gym facilities here. And every day we would come from here, we would go down into the community to deliver food, to deliver books, to deliver equipment, to deliver supplies, to train with the Kosovo military people. But this was our home for many years. Kamenica now, as you see the three big towers that are here? Yeah, none of this was here, right? As you see over here, the sports hall you see here, none of this was not here. Yeah. Probably you noticed as you came in from Toponica, you came over the hill, many of the houses, only houses existed along the main road, nothing off to the sides. And now you see you have houses on each one of these hills now.
Rrëfimi i ish-komandantit Wilson është shembulli më i mirë se nuk ka rëndësi vendi ku ndodhesh, por personat që të rrethojnë. Njerëzit e Kosovës e kanë bërë gjithmonë të ndihet si në shtëpi, prandaj ai pohon se nuk I harron kurrë.
A very warm place to be, right? And still is. Always Kamenica, Jalan, Novoberto, all of these places, the people were always incredibly warm. And still today, as you walk down the street, someone will hug you. How are you? How's your family? We've forgotten this in the US. But it's nice to see that it's still here in Kamenica. It's nice to see over the last 20 years, many of these people who have grown and become leaders in the community. It's very nice. It's very reassuring. It makes you feel good in your heart that these people are here.
Lidhja e tij me Kosovën është e fortë dhe kjo duket qartë. Kamenica është kthyer në shtëpinë e tij të dytë, jo vetëm për të, por edhe për familjen e tij.
I come to Kosovo maybe 3 times a year, maybe, yeah, sometimes 2 times, sometimes 3 times a year. And so last year I brought my children for the first time. They loved it. They thought this was the best, yeah. As you walk down the street, my son says to me, Dad, I've never been hugged so many times in my life as I was when I was in Kamenica. Because as you know, right, you meet someone on the street, you know, hello, nice to meet you. Always they pull you in, they pat you in. My sons loved this. They thought this was amazing.
Për Radio Televizioni 21, Wilson zbulon edhe një detaj shumë interesant që lidhet me ushtrinë amerikane.
We were very fortunate. Before we came to Kosovo, the U.S. Army sent us to learn Albanian. And so we had very fundamental understanding of the language, right? Enough to say, Merdita, Sieni, Apolodish, right? Many of these terms, right, that make for normal everyday conversation here in Kosovo.
Kosova nuk kishte shumë. por disia doli që ushtarëve amerikanë që operuan në atë kohë t'ju dhurante një shtëpi të dytë.
Many of the American soldiers that were here still very much feel very at home in Kosovo. If you remember, probably you're very young, you probably don't remember when in maybe 2003, 2003, 2004, 2005, the US, we had wars in Iraq, we had wars in Afghanistan at the same time we were here in Kosovo. And so Kosovo was not a gigantic priority, yeah? And so compared to those places, Kosovo was a very good place to be. And so many of them, many of the soldiers got married local Albanian girls. Many of them still come back to visit, and many of them still, and many of the people who used to work with the U.S. Army have now gone to the U.S., right?
Në çdo raport duhet të marrësh dhe të japësh. Kjo është ajo që ai kujton kur I kthehet te bashkëpunimi I ushtrisë amerikane me banorët e Kamenicës, për të cilët zgjedh fjalët më të mira.
There was a series of, I don't know if I would say riots, but there was a series of problems that stemmed around, that actually came from Mitrovica. Do you know this story? Yeah. And so during that period, there was a lot of upheaval. There was a lot of fighting between people. But I think probably the best, I think the thing I will remember most about that period was the cooperation that the U.S. military had with the local Kamenica municipality people to make sure, to make sure no one here got hurt. Yeah, I was very impressed by this. Yeah, back then, as I mentioned, Shaib Serduli, he was the mayor, and there was a lady. We had a female deputy mayor named Nejmia Kalaba, and the riots were, as most riots are, predominantly young people, and they were very good about. And when the riots were happening, right, we said, "Hey, be careful! You don't want the United States. You don't want United States soldiers thinking that the Albanians are the bad guys, right? You might want to call all of your friends and tell them to keep their children at home, because all you're doing is giving the impression to American soldiers that the Albanians are bad people." And so they were fantastic in doing this. Fantastic in doing this. So I remember that cooperation. I remember that feeling of alliance with them, right? From that time. I think that's probably, many times when you're here, when we were here in Kamenica, every day we would take books to a school. Every day we would take clothes to the mosque here or the church here so that they could give them to people who needed it. Many times we would we would go and visit projects where we're building on a school or building a new road or something of this nature.
Ndryshimet që kanë ndodhur në këtë periudhë në Kosovë, nga shumica mund edhe të mos dallohen. Kjo sepse jetojmë në këtë realitet çdo ditë. Por ish-komandanti na kthen nga mospasja e ndryshimit në rrugë deri te epoka e teknologjisë që na ka përfshirë dhe ne.
So there are things that are in Kosovo that are very, very impressive, right? And for people here, I think is very difficult to see, yeah, because they live here every day, yeah. But in Kosovo, the people tend to be incredibly smart and incredibly hardworking, yeah. Same with some of the technology, yeah. Now you go to a municipal office now, you see municipal offices, there's no more landline telephones. They're all internet telephones, right? The uses of technology are fantastic. And they did not follow, they just kind of, I hate to say this, not made a shortcut, but they kind of went around some of the things that don't work anymore. And it's smart, right? And so it's, and I know for people that are here every day, this is difficult to see. But I think for, as an American soldier, it's phenomenal to see. The progress is phenomenal.
Qytetar ndere I Kamenicës është titulli me të cilin e ka nderuar Kamenica mikun e tyre. i cili ndjet me fat që e ka Kamenicën dhe njerëzit e saj.
I feel very honored to have been able to be here. Yeah, not so much, they shouldn't feel honored to have me, I should feel honored to have them. Because the people here were always very good to me, very good to our soldiers while we were here. And I think many Americans have a very special place in their heart for Kosovo.
Ish-komandanti Amerikan foli edhe për gjendjen politike momentale të Kosovës.
There are some things I very much like. Yeah. I'm very impressed by some of the new, I would say the new age of politicians. Yeah. So I'm sad to see some of the old politicians retire, right? Because they did a lot of work that now the younger generation can stand on. Yeah, they did a lot of, and they had to do the very basics, yeah? But they did a fantastic job with this. But when you meet some of the new politicians now that are running the municipality, it's very reassuring.
Përveç të mirave që ka Kosova, të cilat deri tash u theksuan e u ritheksuan nga ish-komandanti Amerikan, ky i fundit na tregon se çka duhet të ndryshojë që të përmirësohet vendi ynë.
The key thing in the future, here as in everywhere, is the infrastructure must get better. Kosovo has to find a way to invest in infrastructure, roads, better roads. Everyone knows this, yeah? But this is the investment, right, that moves Kosovo from here to here, right? The transport of goods and services is key. This produces jobs, right? I think that has to be priority number one.
Migrimi i popullsisë, sidomos largimi i të rinjve, është një fenomen të cilin edhe Wilson e ka pikasur.
I know there are many young people that they want to go out of Kosovo and see the world, yeah? Which is good, this is good. Do this, yeah, this is good. But when you look here, there are many, many, many houses that have been built by the diaspora. And they didn't build those houses to sit empty. One day they'll come back. So much has happened in so short a time, right? 20 years from now, the progress will have, from where it is today, will have not just doubled, but quadrupled. It's a pleasure to meet you. And thank you for coming to Kamenica. It's really a wonderful place.